Hello there everyone, I am Nikka Miranda, a third-year financial management student, and together with my blockmate, Mr. Mark Allen Vicencio, we will give you some personal finance advices that might help you in your 20s. So first, we need to learn self-control. Honestly speaking, self-control can predict your financial being, and learning it will prove to be very significant in a way of handling your finances. So, minsan kasi we can't resist the itch to spend money, lalo na ngayong pandemic, because the online shopping platforms such as Shopee and Lazada made it possible for us to make a purchase nang walang kapagod-pagod. And whether you admit it or not, it gives your mood a boost every time you see your purchases. Pero kung iisipin kasi natin, it's only a temporary relief. And we might say na, okay lang yan, reward ko naman yan sa sarili ko. But the time that we started saying those things, it will become our habit na hahanap tayo lagi ng reward instead of putting our money on a savings account. So, rewarding yourself is okay, but always consider if your spendings are worth spending for. Minsan kasi we're only depending on our emotions and we often engage with retail therapy. And it's not a good financial decision to release stress by buying something that you don't actually need. We must always weigh if it is for our wants and needs, because if not, mas magiging prone tayo to being a compulsive buyer and mawawalan tayo ng control sa sarili natin. So second, track where your money goes. Tracking your spending is one of the tools to control your money, kasi mas na-ensure natin that we are using our money wisely. We can make this habit that every time that we spend, we must record it. Either jot your notes down on a small notebook or do it on a Excel worksheet. And meron din namang mga applications sa Play Store that might help, such as Cashbook, Spending Tracker, and Budget App. It will definitely help us to identify kung saan tayo gumagastos ng mas malaki. And if we saw that we are spending too much with shopping or eating outside, we might opt to reduce our purchases next time. And the only essence of this one is para ma-adjust natin yung expenses and savings natin for the following months or years that can help us grow financially. Third, plan your budget. So this must be the most essential thing when it comes to personal finance, because we should always base our expenses and savings sa budget natin. And whenever we plan our budget, hindi tayo dapat lalagpas sa mga amount na nilagay natin doon, because we already allotted a certain amount for each categories. Through this, we are simply preparing for the future, and kung wala ka nito, better start as early as now, because the greatest financial downfalls mostly come from unplanned financial decisions. If you are saying na it's okay if you don't have a budget plan, you can control yourself with spending naman, I tell you, you cannot control yourself on spending if you cannot see a clear picture of why you are doing it.
So for the fourth financial advice that 20 should be reminded is that to stop living paycheck to paycheck. It sounds so easy for some and also impossible for others. So if you're someone who's having troubles with this and you already know where your money goes and you keep a budget, then maybe it's really time to have another stream of income. That's one solution, and you have an entire decade to try and improve that. And another solution is to really try to live below your means. I know the most famous quote is that to live within your means, but that could mean also that you're not saving as much. So when you live below your means and invest and save the rest, then that could be another solution to your problem of living paycheck to paycheck. Number 5 is to have an emergency fund. It's especially important with what's happening today with the lockdown and pandemic. So having an emergency fund can really give you some level of comfort knowing that you're gonna be fine for around 3 to 6 months. So if you don't know what an emergency fund is, it's basically 3 to 6 months, but right now, I really recommend to be at least 6 months of your living expenses. So I did a rough table here that was based on a 4.5 months of your living expenses. So if you're not familiar yet with how much you spend month to month, then you can use this table. Number 6 is to have multiple savings accounts and label each one of them. So if you haven't dealt with a bank yet, your 20s is the best time to do so. Each savings account or bank account should be labeled. One can be labeled as your emergency fund, another can be spend whatever you want fund, travel fund, savings for your wedding, or savings for your car. Having these clusters of funds can really help you with assigning what your money is for and what you are saving for. But basically, some advantages that you can have when you have a bank account rather than just keeping them in your house is that first, you're gonna have a better relationship with banks, and in the future, when you do need loans and credit cards, it would be easier for you to get them. Another is that your money is growing. And the last one is that you can get bank certificates. Bank certificates really come in handy because it can serve as proof of income like when you travel and when you apply for visas. Lastly, number 7 is to have a retirement goal. You must think of your end goal. It sounds so far away, but when you keep that mindset, it's gonna shock you that you don't realize that you're already 40 or 50 and retirement is around the corner. And speaking of age, have a retirement age in mind. And yes, it doesn't always have to be 60. So for example, if you want to retire when you're 50, what are the goals that you want to by then? Maybe a house so you don't have to keep paying rent anymore. Or maybe you want to travel before you retire. Maybe you want a family, or maybe you don't. So all of these goals really start to take shape and they make more sense when you do it backwards. Just try to take the end goal and try to figure out how I can get there and what other goals I need to hit along the way. Okay, so we're done with the 7 financial goals that you can try to hit in your 20s. And even if you are in your 30s or 40s, it's never too late to try to achieve all of these goals. Adulting is already hard, but personal finance doesn't have to be so. These are some of the financial goals that you can try to check off your list. And again, if you found this video helpful, please share them with your friends and family. And again, I am Vicencio, along together with my blockmate Nikka Miranda from FM3. We will see you on our next video.